Mercedes, they have well and truly proved to us why you dunna really count them out. Now, we all kind of haven't been great since this era began in 2022. Okay, they've not been all that terrible, you know, they've still been up at the top, but by their standards of the domination they had before, it hasn't been brilliant. Even at the start of this year, you probably wouldn't have predicted that of the 4 races that happened before the summer break, they would have won 3 of them. Yes, their weekend in Zandvoort, it wasn't quite as good. They ended up doing a 2-stop for whatever reason. Okay, they weren't really brilliant on the hard tires, that's probably why. But anyway, they are well and truly back up in the front fight again. And a front fight that is as close as it's been since 2021. And yes, again, it's not lost on me saying in front of the grid closer than ever, after a race where it was dominated by Lando Norris and McLaren, but it's still close up at the front. I mean, apparently Fernando Alonso said that Ferrari are going to be the team to beat the next 2 races, which, first of all, take that for what you will. It's coming out from Fernando Alonso's mouth. He is the ultimate shit stirrer. But second, for the love of God, Fernando, do not give me hope. But back to Mercedes, I cannot lie. Seeing Mercedes' comeback, it's really been making me intrigued to see how they fare next year with a lineup of Russell and Antonelli. Which it is not officially confirmed as of recording this on Sunday night, but Toto said when speaking to the Dutch media, the 2 drivers in our car next year have our full support. I want to make it work with George and Kimi. He'd said that when talking about something to do with Max Verstappen, which I'll talk about Max later. But according to GP blog, Mercedes states that the team principal was only speaking hypothetically about supporting the 2 F1 drivers next year, whoever they may be. But come on, we've all known for months that Andrea Kimi Antonelli will probably be getting that 2nd seat at Mercedes. We're just waiting for the official announcement, which has been said online it could come this next week before Monza, and when it does get announced, it is going to be added to the list of unsurprising F1 2024 driver market news. But anyway, Merc being back up at the top and looking to have the lineup they'll have next year, it is going to be really interesting to see how they fare, how George and Kimi fare, because in the modern era, they've never fielded a rookie. It is very unlike Mercedes to choose a rookie, but I get why they're sticking him straight in the car. They do not want to lose him like they lost Max Verstappen 10 years ago, and they've done a really another option for the kid other than sticking him in F2 for another year. It's also just not common in general to see a rookie straight up in a top team. I mean, last time was 2007. And small side note and a fun fact for you for the day, 2025 is going to be the first full season where Mercedes will not have a world champion driving for them the entire season. Back in the 50s, they had Juan Manuel Fangio, who was world champion already by that point, by 54-55. He'd won it in 51, then he won it again in 54 actually. He won it 54, 5, 6, and 7. When they came back in 2010, they were fielding Michael Schumacher for 3 years, and then since 2013, they've had Hamilton, and in that time, they also had Nico Rosberg, who wasn't world champion until the very end, but he won the championship anyway. But anyway, point is, Mercedes have always had a world champion driving for them in Formula 1. Except Sakir 2020, which is the only race they haven't had a world champion driving for them because Hamilton was out sick. Anyway, back on track. It's seeing how Kimi does is the first big interest. How he copes with being in a top team right for the get-go. And also seeing how much slack the media and F1 social media, both of which can be notoriously arseholey, offers him. Given that while yes, he will be in a top team, he'll still be a rookie, you know, and so miracles should not be expected of him off the bat. You know, you shouldn't expect miracles. Although, mind you, Leclerc, I don't think, was expecting a miracle today, and look what happened. It came to this end, I think that Antonelli will probably easily be the Rookie of the Year, unless he does tank, which I don't see happening. I mean, I think he'll do alright in F1, honestly. You know, he hasn't been setting the world alight in F2 this year, although, mind you, neither has Ollie Behrman and Prem in general in F2. They just haven't really been there. But Antonelli still has been able to nab a couple of race wins. He has a whack of talent ahead him. And honestly, despite the pressures of being in a top team as a rookie is going to bring with it, and all the expectation, the pressure that's going to be on him, I think he'll do alright. And getting him right in at Merc from the get-go is probably going to put him in really good standing for 2026, or better standing for 2026. than, you know, maybe it would be if he was in Williams for a year. Because then by the time the new regulations come in 2026, he'll be more used to being in Formula 1, used to specifically being in Formula 1 with Mercedes driving in a top team, so that then in 26 with the new regulations, he doesn't have to focus on getting used to that, he just has to focus on getting used to the new car, if any of that makes any sense. But another interesting point for me is George Russell, who is finally going to be able to be the de facto team leader at Mercedes that he's been waiting to be for ages. It's like how he handles things, how he copes with it. Like, I mean, I'm sure he'll be fine. I mean, he's been fine up against Hamilton the last couple of years. They've been teammates. I think he'll be just fine as the team leader at Mercedes. But the interesting thing with it is, it's Mercedes Jr. against Mercedes Jr. at Mercedes. And with there being a looming threat of Total still having a fixation on getting Max Verstappen to Mercedes someday, look, we don't know kind of Antonelli's deal will be 1 year or multi-year. I assume it'll probably, I'm guessing it might be a 2-year or something like that. But all I'm saying is, if I'm in Total's shoes and I'm having to decide between a lineup for 2026 of George and Kimi or Max and Kimi, I'm choosing option 2. This is nothing against George Russell. He's a talented driver. But Max Verstappen has become the last few years one of them drivers that if you have a chance to sign him, you grab onto that chance and you do not let go of it. Sure, Max is contracted with Red Bull through to 2028, but we are keen that contracts can and will be broken in Formula 1. I mean, Red Bull is not looking as stable now as they were when he signed that extension in 2022, I think it was he signed that contract. And not to mention also with the rumours that Mercedes could have something good in 2026. Max Verstappen wants to win. And honestly, I do think that for 2026 onwards, he'll have a better chance at winning at Mercedes than he does than he would at Red Bull. Honestly, I could see George Russell losing his seat to Max Verstappen at Mercedes for 2026. I really could see it happening. The thing, if Toto has to choose between George and Kimi, he can only keep one, he's probably gonna pick Kimi. I think we all kind of expect that, with the amount of hype there is around him, you know, and how much Toto seems to really like the kid and it wants him in the team. So much so he's gonna put him straight up into March. Again, this isn't officially confirmed as I'm recording and uploading, but it's virtual. It's probably going to be announced this week anyway. It would suck for George, of course, to lose a seat in Mercedes. Hopefully he could find another seat on the grid if he does. But this is still a long way out. We're talking about the 2020 for driver market for the 2026 season. But Total seems to have some sort of fixation on trying to sign getting Max over to Mercedes someday. I do think he'll do it. I mean, Total, he seems like one of the people where if there's a will, there's a way. And I do think it is going to happen, and he will finally get Max Verstappen to Mercedes from Red Bull after he lost Max Verstappen to Red Bull 10 years ago. But anyway, 2026 aside, Mercedes still have 9 races left in the 2024 season to get through. They're still 4th in the championship. They are 94 points off of Ferrari, who are in 3rd. Can they catch them? I mean, it kind of depends on how things go for those two teams. More specifically, Ferrari, they've been a little bit rocky the last few rounds. Zandvoort was actually very good for them, which was a surprise, given it was probably their worst track of the year. But you would be quick to say, no, I don't think so, because the next few tracks we've got, you know, Monza, we've got Baku, we've got Singapore, and Ferrari have gone quite well at those tracks in the previous few years. But then right off the back of that, then we have Costa, we have Mexico, we have Brazil, tracks that Mercedes have gone really good at the last few years. So they could catch them, although mind you, Leclerc also went quite well at said tracks that Mercedes went well at in past years, so it's gonna be an interesting battle, I think, for 3rd between Mercedes and Ferrari. I don't think Mercedes can hope for 2nd or 1st. I'm pretty sure McLaren are locked and loaded on 1st, and the constructors at Red Bull are probably gonna be 2nd. Unless Ferrari and Mercedes pull off miracles, which, again, miracles can happen. I say again, look at Leclerc's drive yesterday. Anyway, this was just a bit more of a thought vomit video, just some thoughts I wanted to get out about Mercedes. What's yours? Let me get your thoughts on Mercedes through the remainder of this year and also into the coming years. Do it in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.